Hey, what's up, YouTube? Skia here. We're going to talk about the new HearthStone expansion that just got announced. HearthStone, the Witchwood. I'm pretty hyped about it. I hope you guys are as well. It looks really, really cool. This time we get to see the 2018 rotation happen. So that means all 2016 sets and a couple of cards from the classic set will be rotated into the wild format and out of standard, which is super cool to see that meta shakeup. I always love the rotations for that reason because we get to see a lot of new stuff, a lot of changes and a lot of different strategies being employed and whatnot. So that's super awesome. We also have in this set, we obviously have the new cards. You can pre-order the set right now, which is really cool. Actually, they've added 20 packs of the pre-order. So for 50 bucks, you get 70 packs in the card back instead of 50. I can't complain about that at all. I'm excited for that. Other than that, we also get to see a new single player like PvE mode come in. It's called the Monster Hunt. It's very, very, very similar to the dungeon run from the most recent set, Kobolds and Catacombs, which I actually thoroughly enjoyed. I didn't play a whole lot of that because I really like just ranked standard play, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. So I'm excited to see them continuing to do that. We will also be receiving a free legendary upon logging in, and I believe, I hope I'm not mistaken, 3 free packs as well once the expansion is released. So we will get some free stuff, and you cannot say no to free stuff. Free stuff is amazing. So first and foremost, let's take a look at this rotation. So in the 2018 rotation, we are going to be saying goodbye out of standard to Whispers of the Old Gods, One Night in Karazhan, and Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. So the primary things for me here would be in Whispers, we had the Old Gods, the actual Old God cards. Like, I'm actually pretty unhappy to see N'Zoth go. I really like that card, just kind of in mechanics, thematically. I really like that card. We will also be seeing a lot of good cards in One Night in Karazhan go for a few different classes. Like, we will be seeing Firelands Portal rotating out for mages, so that will be gone. Which is a super, super, super strong card. So actually, that's probably good to see that go. We will be seeing a whole host of cards, really, but I'm just kind of naming a few here. We will be seeing the Hunter card, the 2-mana 1/1 Death Rattle summon 3/2, the Kindly Grandmother, a bunch of other stuff. Out of Mean Streets, that's kind of the big one in my opinion, as we will be seeing the whole Jade mechanic rotated out. So that means no Jade Druid, no Jade Shaman, no Jade Rogue, not that that mattered anyways, but no Jade, so that's a huge one. That's a huge deal. There's a whole bunch of cards. We don't have to go into that now. You can look up, obviously, what cards are rotating out, and you can infer from there what that means. So other than that, we do have the Hall of Fame rotation, where, and if you're not familiar with what the Hall of Fame is, that is where Blizzard takes cards out of the classic set and takes them out of standard and puts them into wild only, so they will be unavailable for standard play. This year, they just started that last year. This year, we will be seeing Cold Light Oracle, Mountain Giant, and Ice Block rotating out of standard in the classic set. So from a meta standpoint, I can see Ice Block obviously being a huge, huge, huge deal for mages. I haven't seen a mage deck without Ice Block in it in a really long time, minus some variants of Secret Mage. Most other mage decks have Ice Block in it. So that's going to be a pretty big deal. Molten Giant doesn't really affect anything, quite frankly, although it is to be noted that the nerf they applied to that card will be reverted once it rotates out to wild, so you'll be able to play it in its unnerfed state, which is pretty cool. Cold Light Oracle, saw play in a couple decks, Exodia Mage, Mill Rogue. I hate Exodia Mage, not gonna lie, so I'm happy that that's no longer, that's nerfed to them, get that out of here. Mill Rogue, I actually kind of liked that deck. I didn't play it too much, but I just kind of like the idea of the mill decks, but I can totally see how that's a hard card to balance, and so, I think it's just kind of a, yeah, sure, let's move it out, whatever. Other than that, you will also get your full dust back for those cards that are rotating to the Hall of Fame. So if you have 2 copies of Ice Block, you'll get 800 dust. You'll get the crafting cost of that card, essentially. You will not lose the card either. You will get to keep the card. So if you have a golden copy, it is to be noted, if you have a golden copy and a regular copy as well, say you have 2 golden Ice Blocks, 2 regular Ice Blocks, you'll only get the dust refund for 2 of those cards. And it will pick the higher cost card, obviously. So you'll get 2 golden, you'll get the dust worth for 2 golden copies and not the regular copies. You are free to disenchant those cards once they rotate and get a little bit more dust back as well. I know there was some talk about doing that last rotation. I didn't look into that. I don't know if Blizzard stops you from doing that or what the deal is there. So something to note, but that is a factor. As for the new cards and mechanics for the new set, let's take a look at those. These are the cards revealed so far from the new set, from the Witchwood. And there are 2 new mechanics being added into the game, or 2 new keywords, I should say. There are other mechanics, so to speak, of what we've seen so far, but 2 new actual keywords, which are Rush and Echo. You can see those on the bottom 2 cards there. And Rush is essentially charge, but it cannot go face. It can only hit minions. So in my opinion, that's what charge should have been in the first place. I like charge because it feels cheesy to win with it, you know. Leroy faceless and you get 12 damage or whatever. I mean, that's kind of cool, but it's not very healthy for the game, I think. So I'm glad that they're employing a new way to still allow minions to charge, but not go face. I think that's pretty good. So that's pretty simple. Echo's pretty cool. The other keyword, Echo. Echo says that you can, if you play this card, you can play an unlimited number of copies of this card in the same turn. If my understanding is correct, please correct me if I'm wrong on that. The way I saw it in the example video is you play this Phantom Militia card, a new copy, like a Phantom card, very similar to the Rogue Death Knight, where they have a, you know, like a Shadow Reflection or a Ghostly card that leaves when your turn ends. It is removed from your hand when your turn ends. So when you play this Phantom Militia, you're given a reflection card of that, similar to the Rogue Reflection card, the Shadow Reflection. You get to play another one. If you play it again, it'll create another one. You get to play another one. Obviously, you are restricted by mana there, and you know, all the normal game rules. So I think that's a pretty cool one. I think that could actually be way too strong depending on what's printed, but we'll just have to wait and see. Other than that, the other cards here that are very exciting, in my opinion, are the 3 legendaries. And when I say exciting, I don't necessarily mean overpowered. I just mean very cool. The one that I really like is the Baku the Moon Eater. So that's a pretty big cost, but it does have the effect of, at the start of the game, if your deck has only odd cost cards, which is a huge requirement though, upgrade your hero power. And if I'm not mistaken, again, please correct me if I'm wrong, this works very much like the tournament champion card from a few sets back. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. You play it, it upgraded your hero power. You went from, you know, like if you got, instead of armor up, you got tank up. You did 4 armor, 4 healing for priests, etc., etc. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of that card off the top of my head. True Silver Chain? No, that's not right. Oh, that's going to bother me. Whatever. The point is, you probably know what card I'm talking about. So it updates, or it upgrades your hero power at the start of the game, provided you adhere to the restrictions. So that could be super cool, especially for Control Warrior. That's kind of a subject, though. A lot of people want Control Warrior back, and it never seems to work, or it hasn't seemed to work for the last few sets, so we'll see about that. The Gen Greymane card's cool too. At the start of the game, if your deck has only even cost cards, your starting hero power, or your hero power costs 1. Your starting hero power costs 1, excuse me. So if you do change it, it sounds like it will not change. The cost will not remain the same if you change your hero power in some fashion. So, you know, I could see a certain number of cards that might affect that. Like Shadow Form would be a good example. We'll have to see how that plays actually, but there might be information on that somewhere, but I didn't see it. So again, you know, if you have more information, please let me know. Otherwise, this final legendary is Azalina, I think, the Soul Thief. Battlecry, replace your hand with a copy of your opponent's. So that's interesting. I don't particularly foresee that being amazing. But you know, there we go. So those are the new cards that have been revealed so far. We will continue to see cards revealed up until the expansion release, and generally speaking, quite a few are revealed, and it kind of ramps up as we get closer and closer, and then once we're like a week away or a few days away, we get a dump of all the extra cards, generally just neutral commons and neutral rares and stuff like that. And in that dump last expansion, that dump included Corridor Creepers, so there are some cards to watch out for in that mass dump. A lot of times they get missed, and the Theory Crafting doesn't really get to hit those cards. So that's what we have so far. And then on top of that, for this set, we get another PvE like solo dungeon experience, like the dungeon run. And as you can see, it looks very, very similar to the dungeon run from Kobolds and Catacombs. And if I'm not mistaken, works very, very similarly as well, except you do not choose, you choose one of the 4 pre-made heroes, which has a special hero power and special cards. I am not 100% sure if you get a smattering of other cards, like actual standard cards in there as well, or wild cards too in there as well, or if it's completely customized cards for that hero or that champion. I'm not sure. Again, may be able to find that online, but I'm not 100% on that one. But it looks really cool. The hero powers are all different, and then as you can see on the screen, it just kind of looks like a dungeon run. You blow through 1 out of 8 bosses, and then you win. There it is. Basically the same thing, but I'm quite, I'm sure they're going to be different bosses. There's probably going to be some new mechanics in there and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited. I liked the dungeon run quite a bit. I didn't play it extensively. Haven't gotten the card back actually, but I like ranked standard, so that's what I play. But it was very, very fun when I did play it. I really enjoyed it. So I like that they're kind of catering to this kind of solo PvE aspect where you don't have to have a lot of cards. That's the problem with Hearthstone right now, is you have to have a lot of cards to play ranked or play standard. At this point in time, you have to have a lot of dust or a lot of cards or a lot of money sunk in the game. So there we are. So other than that, that's about all I have to talk about. I'm super excited for this expansion. I'm really looking forward to it. This is the best part of the expansion cycle. Some might argue where we get to have all the excitement and hype and build up for the next set as they start releasing more and more cards, revealing more and more cards. It's going to get really, really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it. So let me know what you guys think, and drop a subscribe or follow me on Twitter for more updates, and I will talk to you guys soon.